audience. Welcome to the Standards Education Talks. My name is Maggie Mann, and I will be your host for today. Today, we will be discussing how to empower students for success through first-class education delivery. And I've invited Ms. Teresa Tung, the secondary school principal at 𝗠𝘂𝗲𝗁𝗁. So welcome, Teresa. As one of the only 8 fully authorized 3-program IB World Schools in Hong Kong, 𝗚𝘂𝗲𝗀𝗁𝗁 has an excellent track record of providing education of the highest caliber. Perhaps could you explain how 𝗚𝘂𝗲𝗀𝗁𝗁 has become such a distinguished IB World School in Hong Kong and how this has benefited your students?
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Maggie. It's a pleasure to be here. So 𝗠𝘂𝗲𝗁𝗁𝗁 was founded in 2000 with just 3 students. So we started as a primary school. And as a primary school, we were one of the first schools in Hong Kong to offer the International Baccalaureate, the IB Primary Years program. And that framework gave us a really research-based, globally connected framework for learning for our students. And then we grew into a secondary school. So in 2012, we graduated our first group of graduates from 𝗚𝘂𝗲𝗁𝗁𝗁. And in 2013, we moved out here to our beautiful, purpose-built, award-winning campus out here in 𝗚𝘂𝗃𝗁. And along the way, we've really chosen the IB frameworks because they align so well with our 𝗚𝘂𝗲𝗁𝗁 mission. You know, we have a mission to provide a rigorous international education here in Hong Kong that's going to support our learners to achieve their path to individual excellence, whatever that might look like for them. And so we're really, really proud of that. And we know that the way we've been able to become such a distinguished IB school is through the quality of our relationships and the quality of our educators. You know, we know that it is the quality of those relationships that our teachers form with our students and our parents that allows that program delivery to be of that highest quality. So all of our educators are recruited from around the world with experience, of course, in their subject areas and in the IB frameworks. And also, really importantly, our teachers are always engaging in learning themselves, right? They're also lifelong learners. So our teachers are always engaging in professional development to make sure that we know what is the latest research-based information and education about how to best support learning and facilitate learning for our students. And so our students really benefit from that, right? Because they get this quality education supported by their teachers, and they have this internationally recognized credential from the IB that they walk away with, you know, when they graduate from our school. And they're really supported through these relationships that they have with our teachers, and that our teachers also have with their families. So they really benefit as learners through this approach.
Absolutely. And as we all know, this is our 3rd year of the pandemic, and that means that students now have to take their classes through Zoom. So do you have any advice for students who are worried about online learning as they are deprived of hands-on learning opportunities? And how has 𝗚𝘂𝗲𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 helped their students cope with virtual learning?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, of course, it's on everyone's mind right now. We're in this 3rd year of this pandemic, and our students have become really, really adaptive and resilient, right? We've sometimes had to switch to online classes within the matter of a day. And so what we've really focused on here at 𝗚𝘂𝗲𝗁𝗁𝗁𝗁 is helping our students and our community to always be safe, to be supported, and to be successful. And so when we think about being safe and supported, we really help the students identify what is going to help them to be well. You know, we really think about our own well-being in terms of physical well-being, in terms of mental well-being, emotional well-being, and social well-being. Because we know if we're not feeling well and being well, then it's going to be very difficult to engage in learning, right? And so one of the things that we've found has been really supportive of well-being is to have routine. You know, so we work a lot with our students that even if school is now at home, even if school is now online instead of in person, that it's really important to have healthy routines, to have a routine of how you wake up, how you have breakfast, how you then get engaged with school, have a routine of when you take breaks for yourself, and have a routine of identifying some of your needs. And we really work with the students on that. And we also partner with their parents, right, to support them with that. We've also really worked with the students and all of our community in thinking about sort of what's within our control. We often use this sort of mental image of this really big circle, right? And we think about that as our sphere of concern, maybe all the things that's going on in our personal lives, maybe things going on in Hong Kong or globally that we might be concerned about. But then how might we zoom right into the center of that and think about what's within my sphere of control, right? What do I have direct influence over? What can I make decisions about? And really being able to identify that helps to give us a sense of control in a world that can feel quite unpredictable. And that's really important to our well-being. And then so of course within that sphere of control for our students is their learning, right? Whether school is online or at home or in person, what they can control is how they want to engage with the learning, how they want to engage with their classmates, how they want to engage with their teachers, to still be showing learning. They can't take learning away from you, right? You can still always learn and then still be supported by our teachers here at 𝗚𝘂𝗲𝗁 to continue with their learning. So those are some of the ways that we've really supported our community and supported our students as we've navigated now in our third year of being on campus, being at home, sometimes moving in between with very little notice, and focusing on what's within our control and what can we do, and also how can we be connected to our community to support one another through these challenging times.
Right, and just now how you talked about students are taught routines, I know that from the moment students join 𝗚𝘂𝗲𝗁, they're also taught the importance of global citizenship, and they're encouraged to see themselves as caretakers of our planet and our communities. So can you tell us why 𝗚𝗂𝗃 emphasizes on these aspects and how students are guided to develop their growing identities in society?
Absolutely. So actually, in thinking about us being in our third year of the pandemic, I think it's really highlighted, the pandemic has really highlighted our world as being, sometimes we use the acronym VUCA, right? So V for volatile, U for uncertain, C for complex, and A for ambiguous. And the world has, been changing and continues to change at an ever quicker rate. And I think the pandemic has kind of highlighted that for our students, and they really see now the world is really interconnected, right? What's happening here and what's happening everywhere else is all super interconnected. And so how do we understand that? And how do we understand our place in this? And kind of going back to what I was saying about the sphere of concern and your sphere of control, we know it's really important that we need to feel a sense of agency, feel a sense of ability to contribute in a meaningful way to ourselves, to our families, to our communities, and to the world. And so we know global citizenship, this idea that we're all citizens of the whole world, we all have rights and responsibilities to one another and to our shared planet, is really important as a reflection of the world as it continues to change, and to support our students to be successful now and in the future. So that's why we focus so much on it. The global citizenship is the why of, kind of everything that we do here, from the subject classes that students take to the co-curricular offerings that we have. So you can see this throughout all of our programs. So for example, in our grade 6 individuals and societies class, like our humanities class, students engage in a unit of learning where they really look at what's called circular economies, right? So really thinking about the changing world of this sort of linear economy of taking things out from the planet, producing goods and services with it, selling it, and then just, how the waste sort of goes away. Think about redesigning for a circular economy where there is no waste and things continue to be sustained and flourishing into the future. So these are really interesting real-world concepts and ideas that our students are engaging in an academic subject, and then they're being creators, right? So as, for example, part of that unit, students then invent products and services through this kind of circular economy model, and that really empowers them to see, oh wow, contributing to the world is not sort of like a doom and gloom thing of, oh, the world is, in a bad place, we have to fix it, but wow, there's real opportunity for innovation here, and I, as a global citizen, have an opportunity to participate in this together. So that's the kind of way we approach global citizenship, and we support our students to develop that identity throughout everything we do, from class to clubs and all of the different programs that we offer.
That's great, actually. So the curriculum offered at 𝗚𝗂𝗲𝗁 are specifically designed to ensure students are prepared for the next steps in their schooling. Can you explain to the viewers what the curriculum entails and what credentials 𝗚𝗂𝗂𝗁 students accumulate throughout their school life?
Sure. So as we've talked about a little bit, we are an IB World School, so that means we offer the IB primary year program. In our primary school, we offer the IB middle years program through grades 6 through 10, and then we offer the IB diploma program for grades 11 and 12. And when our students graduate, they actually graduate with a set of different credentials because our students go on to all sorts of post-secondary studies and work all around the world. So we really want to make sure that students are empowered with the credentials that's going to open the doors that they want to be walking through after they graduate. So all of our students graduate with a 4-year high school diploma. It's kind of a North American-based credential that people from, who have been educated in, say, the US or Canada would be quite familiar with. So students starting in grade 9 start earning credits towards their high school diploma. So all of our students graduate with an 𝗚𝗂𝗂𝗁 high school diploma. Our students also, speaking of global citizenship, earn a credential that's unique to us in Hong Kong. We're a consortium of 8 international schools around the world that offer the Global Citizen Diploma. So all of our students also graduate with a Global Citizen Certificate to recognize all of the ways that they express their global citizenship. And so that's an additional qualification that all of our students in grades 9 through 12 are working towards. And some also graduate with a higher level of distinction in that program called the Global Citizen Diploma. So that's the second credential. And over 90% of our students also earn the full IB diploma, which is an externally recognized credential from the International Baccalaureate itself. So this combination of the IB qualifications, our 𝗚𝗂𝗂𝗁 high school diploma, and the Global Citizen Certificate really helps our students to take that path to individual excellence after graduation to go where they want, geographically around the world, but also to enter the courses of study that they want to sort of be pursuing after they graduate from 𝗚𝗂𝗂𝗁.
Providing opportunities for students to pursue and identify their ambitions are just equally as important as helping these students attain their credentials. Teresa, could you tell us more about 𝗚𝗂𝗂𝗁's extracurriculars, their clubs, or even their seasonal programs on offer right now?
Sure. So we offer a huge range of co-curricular activities, and these activities are offered by our teachers. They're sometimes also offered by community members, like older students for younger students. They're sometimes offered by parents, and we also do bring in external providers to broaden the scope of different offerings that we might have for our students. And we really see our community as a hub, right, for all of these different experiences for our students and also for the community out here in 𝗚𝗂𝗃. So in terms of sports, within sort of the restrictions that we have, we always offer a competitive sports league. Typically we compete across schools. Lately, when we haven't been able to compete across schools, we still offer that competition in school so that students still have that opportunity to be doing sports and to be competing internally as well. We're located out here in 𝗚𝗃𝗃, so we've got a really strong relationship with the local sailing club, for example. We've got a strong sailing team. They competed in the 24-hour sailing race some months ago, for example. We've got a rock climbing wall on site that's community supported, so we've got quite a rock climbing community at 𝗚𝗂𝗃 as well. So really a robust range of different sports and athletics that our students participate in. We typically have a weekend sports program that our parents actually support, and so older students are coaches for younger students on weekends to be able to use our facility. So we really believe in the power of sports and activity, and our students are really engaged in that. We've got a really robust performing arts program as well. We've got a dedicated 300+ seat theater here in our facility. And so our students, some of them take instrumental music, some of them participate in our community choir, which is a wonderful example of kind of our ethos. So the community choir is comprised of students, parents, teachers, and staff. So you'll have a primary school student singing alongside a parent, singing alongside somebody from our operations staff and performing together. Students also put on a range of productions throughout the year and perform in musical concerts as well. We've got a really robust service program. We partner with a lot of local NGOs here in Hong Kong. So for example, we work really closely with Impact Hong Kong, who helps to support the homeless population here in Hong Kong. Every year we also work with Redress, which is an NGO here focused on reducing waste from the fashion industry. And so our student leaders and our teachers really work with these local community organizations to have impact here in Hong Kong. And we also have a lot of student and teacher-led clubs based on their interests, right? So for example, a Young Investors Club for students who are really interested in finance and investing, or after-school activities for students to build their own computer for those who are interested in that aspect of learning. So really huge range of different activities that our students and our parents can sign up for, offered by a range of different community members.
Yeah, it seems like your students can definitely build up their sense of responsibility and gain great leadership skills. This is definitely going to help them in the real world for sure. And I know that 𝗚𝘂𝗲𝗁 makes use of innovative teaching techniques, such as utilizing competency and skills-based learning and authentic learning. Teresa, could you explain what these are and how they differ from traditional methods of teaching?
You know, when I think about sort of traditional methods of teaching, I think about my own school experience, maybe the school experience of a lot of parents, right? Which is that you go to school because there's really smart people who are teachers, who have all this knowledge in their heads, and it's their job to give you that knowledge. It's your job as a student to learn that stuff, and then to be able to then demonstrate that you've learned that knowledge through tests, right? That's kind of like the traditional way of thinking about school. But what we know now is, you know, in our pockets, literally at our fingertips, is the knowledge of the world, right? Of humanity through the power of technology. So what we know is we need education to be a little bit different, right? We need education to support our kids to be learners themselves and to be able to find information, to understand information, and to develop skills or competencies that's going to help them to thrive in our world now and in the future. So what it means is it's really, it's no longer just having the teacher be the authority to say, this is what you're gonna learn, this is how you're gonna learn it, now show me that you learned it in a test. It's really helping our students to understand, why am I learning this? How am I learning this? And how can I apply this in different situations, not only because the teacher has told me to, but because these are now competencies and skills that I actually have that I can use in any setting. Right? So, for example, with math, you know, math itself hasn't changed, right? Math is still math, but the way that we teach our students and the way that we help them learn math has changed quite dramatically, because it's no longer just about, you know, can they sort of follow the steps and be able to get to the right answer, but it's about, do they understand why they're thinking in this way? Do they have mathematical thinking? Can they see patterns? Can they understand that algebraic function that they're doing? Can they really understand how that's applied in the real world? You know, science as another example. It's no longer just about memorizing certain facts about biology or chemistry or whatever it might be. It's really understanding, what are the big ideas in science, and can you think like a scientist? Can you be a scientist? Can you understand scientific information? Can you conduct experiments? Can you confirm hypotheses? And helping our students to develop these skills, this ability to do things authentically for themselves and to become ever more independent. So it's different because we know it has to be, right? We know it has to be for our kids, for them to be able to be successful now and also into the future.
Giving students a voice and choice is important for making students feel personally invested in their learning, and it gives them a role in shaping and creating it rather than being simply delivered to them. So Teresa, could you share more of your insights on encouraging young minds to speak out? How have your students or even their parents reacted to this mode of delivery?
Yeah. Like you've said, Maggie, it really is about shifting this idea from school that's something that's done to students, like we're going to do school to you, to something that they own, right? And it's about their journey and their story. And I think more and more, this is what students are expecting, and this is what parents are expecting as well, because again, we know that this is what is necessary for them to be able to be successful. So our students are they really advocate for themselves. They really understand who they are. They understand who they are as learners, and they actually demand it from us as the adults, right? Of like, help me in this way because this is important to me. You know, one of my favorite stories about 𝗚𝗂𝗲𝗁𝗂 is actually before I joined the school as a principal. I had actually come for my interview. And so I was going around and visiting classes, and I was in a Mandarin class. And the purpose of that, I thought, was for me to go and get a sense of what learning was like at 𝗚𝗂𝗲𝗁𝗂. So I had my own purpose in there, and I was talking to a student about, you know, tell me what you're reading and tell me what you're trying to do here. And they were, you know, very welcoming, and they answered my question, but then they stopped me and they said, wait, sorry, do you speak Mandarin? I said, oh yeah, I do, you know, my family's from Taiwan. And they're like, okay, great, can you read this? Can you help me with this? And right there in that room, they didn't know me. I just come to the community for a visit, but they felt that sense of like, if you're here in my classroom, then I should be able to ask you for help, right? And I should be able to get the help that I need for what I'm doing in this particular moment. And I just love that story because I think it really highlights the kind of learning culture that we have here, where students really do take ownership for their experience. And you know, I think parents, anything that's different from our own experience, of course, it can be a little bit challenging sometimes to think about. But I think when our parents see, wow, my child is having such a impactful learning experience, it's really helping them to be independent. When parents hear the kind of questions that their kids are asking, when parents see the kind of work and learning that their children are producing, they really understand, wow, this is really, really impactful, and this is really helping set up my child for success. And then they really want to be part of that journey. And then again, they're demanding it from us.
It's definitely important for students to become their own individuals during these crucial formative years. And especially with today's educational and university and employment landscapes undergoing constant changes, students nearing the end of their secondary education, they often feel unsure about their post-secondary pathways. Like when I was younger, I'm sure they feel the same. So what support does the school provide to help students identify and pursue their options after graduation?
Yeah, that's a really important part of our role here, right? As the school, to help students to identify these opportunities and to think about what's going to be the right fit for them. You know, at the beginning of the conversation, I talked about our mission to support pathways to individual excellence. We know it looks different for every child. What is the best fit for what they want to do after secondary school? And for some students, they know exactly what that might be. For others, it might be more exploratory. But how do we really help them grapple with these questions throughout their entire journey here? So we do have a post-secondary counseling program that sort of starts formally in grade 9. So that involves a lot of self inventories, really thinking about what they want, what they value, what they want to do after school, thinking about the criteria that's important to their family. We connect them with university representatives from all around the world. Especially now with everything being online, there's lots of virtual tours, lots of virtual university fairs where our students are directly connecting with people from different university systems, whether it's in the US or in Europe or in Australia or here in Hong Kong. They also do a lot of career exploration as well, so hearing from people in industry. We've got a wonderful parent community who often volunteers their time to speak with our students about their own career journeys and what's going on right now in their fields. So that sort of formally happens in grade 9, and we've got quite a comprehensive program that takes our students through this, and starting to look at the more technical of, what's the application process if you want to go to the UK. Right? It's very different than the application process if you want to go to the United States, and it's very different even in timeline to if you wanted to go to the Southern Hemisphere to, say, Australia. So that all happens, grade 9 through to grade 12 at a more technical level. But I think what's really important is throughout a student's entire journey at 𝗚𝗂𝗂𝗁𝗂, it's all about understanding yourself, right? It's all about understanding, who am I? What do I care about? What brings me joy every day? What am I really skilled at? What do I want to contribute? And understanding some of those fundamental questions about your own identity is going to be much more helpful for you to start to think about, well, what do I want to do after school? So rather than that sort of traditional question of, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And then, here's the steps to get there. It's, what are the things that you care about? What problem do you want to solve in the world? Because as you've said, Maggie, we know that, the world is changing. We know that industry is changing. We know careers are changing. We know that the career trajectory for our students who are, yet to graduate, it's going to look quite different, right? So how can we help them to really know themselves and know the world, and then find the path that's going to support them?
Wow, with such robust and comprehensive support, I'm sure there are plenty of students who have received exceptional employment or university offers. Are there any success stories you can share with us?
Yeah, we're really proud of our alumni. We have 220 Hong Kong Academy alum now around the world, the oldest of which are in their, sort of late 20s now. And they're active in a really broad range of fields, from industrial design and architecture to business management, law, economics, mechanical engineering, biomedical sciences, hospitality, music, art, just such a robust range of different things that they're doing now. So for example, in terms of some of our graduates who are now working, we have a graduate from our class of 2013 who's back here in Hong Kong working as a lawyer. We have another graduate from that same class who's working on his PhD in Earth, Atmospheric, and Planetary Physics at the University of Toronto. We have a more recent graduate from 2016 who is now in the UK. She's qualified as a vet and now working as a vet in the UK. We've also got students who, well, no longer students, young adults who have graduated who are now doing their studies. So we've got somebody from our class of 2018 who's at Cornell University studying architecture, and he's actually on his study abroad right now in Rome this year. We have two graduates from the class of 2019, one of whom is at Carnegie Mellon in the United States studying theater, set, and film design, and another graduate from that same class who's in the UK studying at King's College studying physics. More recently, we've got two graduates, one of whom is at the University of Rotterdam in the Netherlands, studying communications. And then we also have folks who, again, stay here in Hong Kong. So we have a graduate from the class of 2020 who is at the University of Hong Kong studying biomedical science. So just a huge range of different things that our graduates are off doing in the world now, and we just couldn't be prouder of them.
Right, and the real world requires a lot of difficult and challenging personal experiences, but students may not have that. However, your school provides authentic environments for your students to challenge themselves. So how do your students engage in real-life learning and overcome challenges that come along with it?
Yeah, so that's a really important part of what we do both in and out of the classroom. So I gave you that example a little bit earlier of that grade 6 sort of humanities class where students are designing their own products using sort of circular economy models. And so along that way, they're getting feedback. They might be making mistakes. They might be seeking feedback from their teacher. And so that's an example of how we might do that within a classroom. We've also got a lot of student-led projects that we encourage through various aspects of our program. So for example, in grades 6 through 10, all of our students are engaging in a project that's meaningful to them and our community. And it's taking a huge range of different things that our students are doing. So for example, back in December, we had a group of students in our high school who identified a local NGO that they wanted to support that helps to bring sports and athletics to underprivileged communities. And so they wanted to host a charity basketball tournament here on campus to help raise funds for this organization. And so they had to lead this project themselves. They came up with their project management plan. They had to come and do a pitch to the head of school and to our director of operations. And we gave them feedback the same way we would to if an adult came and said, I want to run a charity basketball tournament. They had so many things they had to think about, right? About, how are you making sure you're following the health and safety protocols? How are you going to collect money? How are you going to then, account for this money and transfer it to the NGO? All of these, again, real world things. We gave them that feedback, but then they had to go and figure out the solutions, right? They had teacher mentorship, but we weren't telling them the answers. And so that's just an example of the kind of project that all of our students are engaged in different ways, and how they have to, problem solve along the way to realize the kind of projects and the kind of things that they want to be doing.
That's wonderful. Well, I believe that we are nearing the end of our talk. And for my final question, I'd like to ask, what key trends do you see evolving in the education scene? Do you think we will see more technology or even online learning used in the near future?
Yeah, technology is not going away, right? We know that it's going to continue to shape our lives in and out of school, in and out of work, the ways that we interact with one another, the ways we take care of ourselves, the ways we work and learn. So I think that will continue to evolve. But I think what we're learning is how important social and in-person interaction really is to all of us, right? During this time when we have been so socially distanced from one another, I think it highlights more than ever, as technology continues to have a greater impact, how much more human we need to be, right? And we know that our kids are going to be very comfortable with technology. They really see it as an extension of themselves, right? It's not something that they have to sort of learn. But how might we help our students to use technology in a way that is supportive for them? How to use technology to help us to communicate, to think, to be organized. And so, again, I think education is going to continue to be focused on how do we help kids to know themselves, how do we help kids to know the world, and how do we help them to develop the skills that's going to help them to adapt and continue to learn in this, uncertain and ever-changing world.
Awesome. Thank you again, Teresa, for your insights on empowering students for a brighter future.
Thanks, Maggie.
And thank you, audience, for tuning in. We'll see you again in the next session. Bye.